Hello there, YouTube. This is Split S Simulation here with one of many first looks. Today we're going to be looking at PFPX, Professional Flight Planner X here, for any flight simulator platform that you have, either going to be X-Plane, FSX, or Prepared. Not Prepared 3D, but Prepared. Let's make sure we get that straight. It can be used on any one of those platforms. This is basically your one-stop shop for all your flight planning needs in terms of weather information, navigational information, flight plan building, flight plan manual building, ETOPS, fuel policies, and things like that. It's all right here, and it doesn't get much better than this. This is the... You know what FS Build was at its time? Well, this is the new FS Build. And rightfully so, because it is amazing, and it's going to replace pretty much several different tools you have in your bag to flight plan. This is going to replace them all. I almost say this almost replaces your electronic flight bags and things like that. In my book, I don't use those tools, so to use this as that, it's pretty straightforward. So I imagine it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those tools that replaces several things in your flight planning process. Those of you that use PlanG, FS Commander, FS Build, some of you still have FS Nav. Like I said, this takes it to a whole new step, and it does takes those functions from those programs and just multiplies them into this one program here. It's pretty amazing stuff. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started and take a look at a few of our menus. And that's what we're going to be doing here today in this video. So we'll take a look at our program options, and this is pretty much straightforward. We're not going to we can customize the different tabs you see and the different buttons you see up here at the top in the status bar. That's mirrored out, so it's kind of hard to see that, but there's different buttons you can select to display up there. In your general information, you can put your name, a user ID of sort, and this will be shown basically on your flight plan. It's not necessary, but if it's something that you want to see on a printed flight plan or something that when you actually look at it here in PFPX, it'll show there. And you can have some email and contact information here if you so choose, but I don't use that. I am using version 1.15. We are up to date with the current version. My subscription started my subscription started 2 days ago with 363 to go. And that is a good point where I'm going to stop and talk about the price. For this program and a 1-year service subscription, I think you're paying somewhere around 42 euro. And on the 7th, I think it equaled out to about 58 US dollars. That's going to be a lot to swallow for what you think you think it's just a simple flight planning tool. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. The reason, say for instance you buy a plane, you went to PMDG and bought the new 7 or the 777. Okay, you're gonna spend probably close to $90 on it right now, and you'll fly it occasionally, or you might fly it once a week, twice a week, things like that. With this tool, and this is how I justified it to myself anyway. With this tool, you're going to use this every single flight. You're going to use this to plan flight. You're going to use this to plan your fuel. You're going to use this for everything. So, with that being said, that's how the $58 comes justified. And the functionality and the options involved and the different things you can use in it beyond covers the $58. I assure you. It's well worth the price. Now, the service subscription, I guess, involved comes, you get 1 year with the purchase, and then I believe on their website it's posted for something just under 20 euro, which that'll of course change on a day-to-day US dollar rate, but you'd have to renew that every year to maintain that server subscription. Basically what that includes is real-world weather at the time, nat tracks, and that includes Pacific tracks, Australian, and any track that's out there. Those are real-world updated, like I said, as well as weather, and I believe, and don't quote me on this because I'm not 100% sure, this might actually cover navigational database updating as well. And I think that's a pretty cool thing to maintain. you don't have to usually, even though you're buying FMS data through NavGraph or different other nav sources, this one I don't believe requires it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and continue on through our menu here. Let's take a look at our planning and units. You can pretty much select kilos or pounds and different how you want different things displayed. I am a very much a American, so unfortunately I'm going the lazy way and using feet, pounds instead of kilos and things like that. This you'll see a little bit later on in the a little bit more in detail later on in the video. The defaulted flight policy is going to be U.S. domestic. I have not selected any of these, so we can actually do that now. Let's take a look what our options are. We're going to use ICAO options for defaulted international flights. Now, this is something you can change at any time whenever you create your flight plan, but this is what will default in that plan. Long range, we'll use ICAO again, just to be somewhat standard. Default planning data, 10 minutes out, 5 minutes in. You might need, and you can change that per individual flight plan, but again, this is what a default, and that's normally what it takes me, especially in something that going into most airports. And I fly a lot, basically exclusively on the VATSIM network. I haven't really flown on any networks, to be honest with you, but I usually don't fly unless I'm on VATSIM. I don't see a point unless there's possibility of a controller being online to actually fly an aircraft. You'll see some of my reviews and some of my videos offline only for the simple fact that I'm trying to get you the best product and showing you being more focused on the product at hand instead of dealing with ATC and other pilots and other traffic and Unicom and things like that. Continuing on here, we can take a look at the database. It's going to give you, see, you know what? This is where I was incorrect. So, the nav database is expired. It is showing the Aerosoft database. I'm sure there's a way to update that. And you know what? It's probably going to be through. It's probably going to be through NavGraph. We'll have to check that out. And actually, I want to stop here for just a second. Take a look. All right. So now, looking at our database information, it is showing updated for May through June. I'm going to backtrack on what I said in terms of the database. It does not cover nav data. That is something you will have to update on a month-by-month basis. So I have updated that. I use NavGraph. I have ever since I started using updated nav information. So that is now updated and in there. It's very simple to install. It was very straightforward. So with that being said, so you do need to have to keep track of that. Shows how many different airports and things like here. This is all pretty self-explanatory. I have 2 aircraft in there. It has 9,041 routes stored, and that comes with PFPX. Taking a look at the weather, I do have this pointed at Active Sky, and I'm not sure why that wasn't selected. However, it is going to pull all of Active Sky's information to generate my flight reports. Again, I'm not sure why that wasn't, so I got to take a look at that. You can pretty much direct it to your WEX _station_list tax file, then it'll pull up that information. Looking at our weights, pretty self-explanatory. Not pretty difficult to understand, but you can pretty much update all this. And that'll also help streamline your flight plans. Airline codes, again, self-explanatory. And then the network information, I use VATSIM's information. I'll show you how that works here in the future. So with that being said, the menu here was pretty straightforward, easy to set up. And if you have any other questions, just post them down in the comments. We're going to go ahead and end part 1 here. Up next will be part 2 on how to build your first flight in PFPX. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.